China has declared that the Dalai Lama's reincarnation requires approval from the central government following the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader's announcement that he would have a successor after his death. The Dalai Lama turned 90 this week. He's been in exile in India since 1959, when Chinese forces suppressed an uprising in Lhasa, Tibet's capital. He affirmed that the 600-year-old tradition would persist, alleviating fears among many Tibetans about a future without a central spiritual and political figure. Well, joining us on this program, two very special guests, Lobsang Sangye, lecturer at Harvard Law School and former president of the Tibetan government in exile. I'm also joined by Tenzin Lekshe, official spokesperson of the Central Tibetan Administration. Thank you both very much for being with us. How wonderful it is to have you on NDTV. And for all of us in India, it's such a joyous occasion to know that there will be, at some stage, a new Dalai Lama, though we love the present one deeply. Mr. Sangye, to you first, how important is it for the Tibetan community around the world and in Tibet that the 600-year-old institution of the Dalai Lama continues?
It is a big news and a good news, as you said, for Tibetans inside, outside Tibet and Buddhists around the world, that the institution of Dalai Lama will continue. Reincarnation of the 14th Dalai Lama will be born and will be born outside in a free world, and Chinese government, a communist party, an atheist party should not interfere in this matter. And his office, Ganden Podang Trust, which is also 600 years old, will coordinate the process, and we will have the next Dalai Lama as per the wishes to carry on the mission of the present Dalai Lama. So this is a good news, and there's an absolute clarity that Beijing cannot interfere, and it is the sole decision of the great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet.
Mr. Lekshe, how does this announcement assure a future for the Tibetan community with not just a spiritual focus, which is so central to your lives, but also a political focus, because that is critical in taking or sustaining the movement for a free Tibet?
So Vishnu, His Holiness, we've been celebrating His Holiness' birthday as His Holiness is the symbol of love, compassion, right? And we've been celebrating it as the year of compassion. So for His Holiness is the spokesperson of Tibet. His Holiness is the voice of Tibetan people. His Holiness is a symbol of Tibetan people, right? So therefore, the statement which just came this morning, it signifies that with the repeated appeal of Tibetan people, wishes for His Holiness institutions to remain, His Holiness affirmed that the Institute of Dalai Lama will continue. Right? It's a very important statement, and it is also very much concerned with the Tibetan issues also. So therefore, I think it is very important at this point of time that Chinese government has to understand that the crux of the matter is the sole authority of the recognition of His Holiness Dalai Lama and rests upon His Holiness. But and His Holiness has entrusted it to the Ganden Podang, the office of His Holiness Dalai Lama. So therefore, it is very significant. And for us, not just in exile, but also in Tibet, all are in unity and with the statement of His Holiness Dalai Lama.
Yes. Mr. Sangye, the worry, however, is that China has countered by saying that Beijing will have the final say. All of us want an independent Dalai Lama picked in an independent environment by Tibetan people like yourselves. Could there be an unfortunate scenario where there are two Dalai Lamas, one appointed by you and one reincarnated by free Tibetans and one named by China?
Yes, the Chinese government will try to do so. But, reincarnation means this is an incarnation of the present Dalai Lama to carry on the traditional mission of this Dalai Lama. So fundamentally, it is individual choice where and when to be born. And he has decided he'll be born outside in a free world. Now, Beijing will definitely try to appoint their own Dalai Lama, but there'll be a fake Dalai Lama because they have zero credibility. They destroyed all our monasteries and nunneries, and they destroyed monks and nuns. They continue to curtail religious freedom for Tibetans, and they have, even till today, they criticize Dalai Lama even today, right? So that way, they have zero credibility. Now, Chinese government, if they appoint a pope, how many Catholics will follow? If they appoint an imam, how many Muslims will follow? If they appoint a rabbi or Shankaracharya, how many their followers will follow? Zero. For Tibetans, there is a clarity. Whatever the Dalai Lama decides, his instruction, his office will coordinate, and we will follow. So Chinese government will play political theatrics, by appointing their own Dalai Lama, and they will try to parade him, but it will be a fake Dalai Lama with zero credibility. And as far as Tibetans inside and outside are concerned, and the Buddhists around the world, including Mongolians in the whole of the Himalayan region, will welcome and celebrate the one chosen as per the direction of this Dalai Lama.
Mr. Lekshe, the Dalai Lama has become for decades the global face of your push, Tibet's push, to assert a cultural identity. He's also an extraordinarily powerful symbol of non-violence. I think in as much as we talk about what the future holds and one hopes that it's peaceful, I also think on his 90th birthday, it's important to talk about this Dalai Lama, the fact that he's a wonderful human being. He's got an incredible sense of humor. He's fun-loving, he's inclusive, he loves people around him, and he loves India. For us, that's so important. Could you tell us a little bit about the Dalai Lama and how he has been on his 90th birthday?
So, Vishnu, you are absolutely right. Because when we talk about the next Dalai Lama, let us rejoice the presence of the 14th Dalai Lama, the great 14th Dalai Lama. His wisdom, his love, compassion, the radiance is omnipresent, right? So therefore, for not just for the Tibetan people, because one time when His Holiness came into exile, all the people of the world says that Dalai Lama is of Tibet. Now, over the last 60, 70 years, His Holiness belongs to the world. His Holiness, whatever His Holiness has been speaking about, right, talking about and embracing, is love for all the humanities, right? So there is no, is a boundless. His love is boundless. And even when you look at the present today's statement, His Holiness has clearly mentioned that even the appeal has also come from China, the Chinese people. And the Chinese people also has revered His Holiness as the leader, spiritual leader, and request for His Holiness institutions to remain. So it is not just for the Tibetan people. Now it's everywhere. So we have to rejoice the presence of the great 14th Dalai Lama and spread his message of
Bishop,
love.
if I may add.
Go ahead, Mr. Sangye.
Like Buddha came to this world 2,500 years ago, and Buddhism has spread all over the world, even though Buddha was born in Lumbini and did not travel outside of India. But Buddhism and his teaching has prevailed all over the world. Similarly, the great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet is, his legacy will live on forever, for hundreds and thousands of years to come. We are very fortunate. He is the face of Tibetan civilization, Tibetan identity, Tibetan freedom movement, but also he is the, Buddha of compassion, manifestation of compassion for Buddhists around the world. So that way, he is a person who got 150 awards. He has published more than, 100 books, and he has traveled around 62 countries around the world. That way, I think the preciousness and the value, the sacredness of his teaching will live on. That way, we are very, very proud to have him and join him in celebrating his 90th birthday. So that's why we call him the great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet.
I think he's a symbol of compassion, not just for Buddhists, but for people and civilizations around the world, irrespective of religion. But Mr. Sangye, a final question to you. Would you agree that the eventual successor to His Holiness, given the charisma and the international appeal of this Dalai Lama, any successor will have an extraordinary challenge ahead of them in keeping your movement, which is essentially for the future of Tibet, alive? Wouldn't that be a huge challenge?
Yes, on the one hand, yes, there will be a challenge for sure. But if you study all the 14 Dalai Lamas, each one have contributed in their own ways. We call fifth the great 14 Dalai Lama. Sixth, who was in fact born in Tawang in India, happened to be a great poet. And 13th Dalai Lama was great Dalai Lama. His foreign policy and the way he united Tibet is also an extraordinary. So 14th Dalai Lama has contributed in his own way. So if you look at the successes of the last 14 Dalai Lamas, except for the 3 who died very young because Chinese interfered in during Qing dynasty, we have a very success rate, very high success rate. So we are very hopeful, like the great 14 Dalai Lama, 15 Dalai Lama will come and carry on the great legacy of this Dalai Lama and lead the Tibetan movement for years to come. And finally, we will be able to return to Tibet during this Dalai Lama's time, if not definitely during next Dalai Lama's time. So our movement will continue, and for Buddhists and peace-loving people around the world, his vision and legacy will continue.
Well, we hope that there is a date and a time when you can all go back to your land. But as long as you are in our land, you are always going to be our brothers and welcome guests, and very much a part of what we are.
Thank you so much, Vishnu.
Thank you both very much for being with us.